Good morning, everyone. Today is the 12th episode of Arks Trash. For those who are new to the channel, Arks Trash is a podcast, which is audio only. So feel free to minimize the video somewhere and just listen to it. We will be mainly talking about Burnout in today's video with Anamana. But first of all, if you're new to the channel, I upload PSO2 content daily. So if you do play this game, I'd really appreciate a subscribe as it really helps out the channel. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin the video. Welcome everyone to the 12th episode of Arks Trash. Today we have Anamana here with me today. Anamana, would you like to just briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Anamana. I make pretty similar content to keroppi, but with, I guess, my style of it. But yeah, if you've watched stuff that keroppi does, you can expect similar kind of stuff, just with a little bit of a different perspective.
All right, perfect. And just as a friendly reminder, in case you guys are new here, we both cover PSO2. We are PSO2 content creators. And yeah, okay, so let's jump straight into it. What have you been up to in PSO2 recently?
Recently, I was gonna not bother with like the gotta fixes because of how close we are to New Genesis, but I have this thing in the back of my mind that's like, well, what if New Genesis drops and I need, what if there's like a huge benefit to bringing in weapons and units that have that, the crag? Got into the mindset that I should probably make that stuff. And then I've got that stuff. I don't have to worry about that stuff on that off chance that, hey, starting New Genesis, it's going to help me just beeline through to like the higher end gear for when we first have that launch. So I can just farm a whole bunch of materials. And if I do start to work towards good New Genesis gear, I've saved a lot of resources in Meseta, right?
Mm-hmm. True. I've been preparing for New Genesis as well, but in a different way. I've been doing everything that gives me star gems because I just want to make sure that I have enough star gems in case, especially when like the new body type drops. Like I have a funny feeling that, what if they do like collabs that are exclusive to those body types, right? Then I would really need to do that, right? So I'm just like, crap.
Yeah, like I want to hear more about what they're going to do with star gems, because all we've heard is that they will carry over. We don't know the capacity in which. And in terms of cosmetics at the moment, I've started to come to realization that the type of person I am, and this isn't obviously everyone, a lot of people are very happy with their old type body, I guess you'd say like costumes and stuff like that. But I feel like I'm just going to go straight into new types. So I've been hoarding a lot of costumes, like pretty much one of each of a color variant. And now I'm getting into the mindset of I might actually just get rid of and sell those ones that I would never wear, just to free up storage so that when New Genesis comes, I can just focus on equipping that New Genesis stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Another thing that I actually really am thankful for was that you can just switch the head. So like I have a lot of costumes for my base PSO2 body types, but obviously I want to get screenshots or like videos of my character in like high definition, right? So I can just switch out the face type, and then at least I can still use the hair type, right, that you've saved from the old models. But I just need to scratch, like, maybe SG scratch or like fresh fine chop or something for like the eyes and makeup and all that jazz. And hopefully it fix things up. Yep.
Have you heard there was like a tooltip? I don't know if it was in the closed beta, the last one, and I can't remember if it's daily or weekly, but it sounds like every player, like even free-to-play players, I don't know, maybe it could eventually become a premium thing, but I think at least at the time being, maybe it's a free-to-play thing, but basically either each day or maybe once a week, maybe at reset, you get like a free AC scratch ticket.
Yes, I actually I saw that tooltip. It was in the closed beta too. It was saying that you get a free scratch every single day, and I was
that's
like,
gonna be so good.
Yeah, I was like, holy cow, a free scratch every single day. Like that's basically going to be our login bonus. I'm assuming, like that's a pretty damn good bonus.
And like, with the whole thing of the AC scratch ticket, the one where you could just buy just blank AC scratch tickets and you could just apply it to any scratch. With that system going away, is it just going to be for the current scratch that's running? Will we only have one scratch at a time? Or like the user interface for it, right? Mm-hmm. Thinking of it now, and I don't play this game, I know that you definitely do, but the Genshin Impact banner system, I wouldn't be surprised if you'd be like tabbing between different scratch that are running at the time, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like in Genshin, you have multiple banners. We call those banners. So we've got like, there's a limited time banner, which is like, oh, this is only available for the next 2 weeks. Then we've got a weapon banner, which is exclusively for weapons. And then we have a permanent banner that is always ongoing. And the thing about Genshin is each banner has its own pity system. So, well, I mean, I guess it's the same in PSO2 right now, where we have the protection system. So, for example, you do 30 scratchies on like the newest banner, and you get a protection ticket, which allows you to pick whatever you want. But they don't cross over to different banners, right? Which is very So that's pretty cool. I mean, I'm actually pretty excited for that, because that gives us the possibility for like, you know, more cosmetic items, as well as maybe people don't care about cosmetic items and people want, you know, power, because you know, we have the support scratchy and stuff like that. So people definitely, it caters to everyone that way, you know.
You want to know something I was thinking of today? And I feel like a lot of people, especially the people that have premium and can sell on the player shop, and maybe even people that have been stockpiling some of the shop passes, but you imagine how many more items there would be on the market if we could have a player shop per character instead of account.
Oh my goodness.
That'd be so much better for making money. Holy crap.
True. Actually, while we're still on the topic of New Genesis, what is your game plan going into New Genesis now that your characters, you know, your dailies and your weeklies are now bound to account and not by character anymore? So, you know, I think you're the only content creator that I know that has like 30 characters. You know, are you upset about this, or like, how do you feel?
I mean, on one hand, it's like disappointing that I can't make that kind of meseta, but on the plus side, I get more of my time back. And also, I can still, like, the other side of it is I will probably still do my dailies or my weeklies mainly for base PSO2, because you can sell those cosmetics on base PSO2 or New Genesis. I guess it just really depends on where players are making the most money once we do have both out. But on the other hand is, what if we could do 30 character weeklies on every character? Then I'll be doing PSO2 and New Genesis, and like, I'm going to be bound to my computer at that point.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. But yeah, because when we last talked in our last podcast, what you said was, you know, your main driving force, or what you enjoy doing in PSO2, or at least base PSO2, was min-maxing, really fully optimizing that leveling up experience between all your different alts. But when we come over to a New Genesis, you know, we've only got one single character, or, you know, I guess you could level up the other characters as well, but you don't gain any like financial benefit from it. And so what exactly are you looking at when going into New Genesis? Like, what activities would you think to do to have fun, basically?
I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I guess I need to wait and see what Sega's going to say. But you could do across multiple characters, but like, just off the top of my head, all I could do is maybe approach my characters as a different costume for each day or something like that. Like, I've got my main character with the gear. I could just bank that stuff, put it on a character I've leveled up to the same point. You know, skill points are unlocked, account level. So there's nothing holding me back on, oh, now I need to swap over to this other character, go and get it to all its skill points. They're already there, ready to go. So I think I'm going to have freedom to... I mean, I think that'll be good for anyone that does have a lot of characters that does like fashion, because that means that they can basically, instead of having outfit presets, they've just got the characters they have as a character set up for that style, right? You could even have like I could even have the same Anamana character for all of them, just in different costumes.
For me, in the closed beta, I actually spent a lot of time just exploring, because as you know, I play a lot of Genshin Impact. And the thing about Genshin Impact that I really enjoy is actually just the exploration, because the world looks so beautiful. So in the closed beta, we were able to, you know, wander around in a very specific area. It's pretty much like the forest area of that region. But soon after the beta ended, we found out that that was only like 1/10 of the world. That was a really small part of the world, and we're just like, holy crap. Because like, you made a video where you ran around the area, right? Like, how long did it take you to run from one end to the other?
It would have been like half an hour, I think, or somewhere. And that was just like faffing around. Like, I literally, that was Stumpy, who was over at the time, and also Karim to play it. But I was sitting with him, and Stumpy's just like running around, and we're just both talking like, "Oh, look at this thing, look at that thing," and we could see all these stuff in the horizon as well. So I mean, if we were to speed run it, maybe it'd take 20 minutes, but I think the world is definitely going to be bigger. And like, however big it's going to be, if it was like an 8th or a 10th, it could end up even being bigger than that. And the other question is, when we do get expansion content, are they going to just add more to that map, or are we going to get like new planets, or are there new planets that are going to be coming anyway, right?
I feel like that is pretty insane, right? Let's say that we get a whole new planet and there's another world just as big as, you know, the one that we have right now. That'd be nuts. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's a lot.
And it could go underground as well, right?
Oh snap. Yeah. Actually, it's funny you say that, because in Genshin Impact, there's actually one region where it's like a snowy mountain. And the thing about that map is it's not very big, but there is so much elevation. Like, there's underground caverns, there's caves, there's mountain tops, there's peaks and stuff like that. And so even though the map itself doesn't seem very big, because there's so much elevation to work with, you've got a lot of activities to do. So it's pretty cool. So Ashley, speaking about obviously we're very excited about New Genesis, but now I think global PSO2 has pretty much caught up with JP, I think? Or are we missing something that JP has?
We're definitely missing some stuff. I think in terms of like core content, like urgent quests, like weapon series and stuff like that, we are pretty close. Like, there's maybe one or two things we need. Like, there's the Fluxio series, Challenge Mode 3, there's Solo Sodam. There's probably like some other stuff. We've still got to get like Central Fire Dome Swell, which is like Arks Fire Dome or Fire Swell, that's going to be coming next week at maintenance. But like, aside from that, there's like a lot of stuff we don't see on global that is on Japan. Like, if you played Japan and just went and did a forest exploration, you would have all these different emergency trials that would be running that you wouldn't see on global, mainly based around Phantasy Star Universe characters. Like, you may get one where Ethan and Karen, who you may remember from like a lobby a while back, will just come in and do a trial with you and then, go along their way. There's also ones for Phantasy Star portable characters and like a whole bunch of other stuff. Like, they've had collaborations with Final Fantasy 14, and there was one I remember specifically. I used to get it on Coast when I was doing it, and you'd have an Odin fight where you'd fight Odin and then Odin would disappear. But there was also, I'm pretty sure, like, people can probably correct in the comments, but basically there is also almost like an urgent quest fight of Odin that will happen as one of those question mark teleporters at the end of a stage. I think that's how it worked. I wasn't around playing PSO2 at that time. I think I was taking a break, but that was something people liked as well. There's like Monster Hunter content that was tied to Monster Hunter Frontier, which we probably won't get specifically, but maybe if they did a collaboration with Rise, they could potentially shoehorn that in. There's like a whole bunch of like obviously collaborations that we'd get. I just hope that we definitely get like the 20th anniversary, the Jar, the shopping plaza character having their exchange, because there's a lot of good cosmetics and weapon camos from that. There's a few scratches, voice tickets people are wanting as well, lots of collaborations. That's pretty much, I think, that what we're missing, and I don't think we'll ever have parity with what the stores are and swap shops. Like, those are completely different, like compared between NA and JP. But as far as NGS goes, I'm hoping, and now that we're at parity, I'm hoping we get the closed beta announcement next maintenance, and maybe my estimation is that it may run in May, and then maybe we'll see an open beta in June or July, and then maybe it'll be a full release in August, but I'm not too sure. Like, that's all kind of, we don't know a lot right now, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, man, I just want to play New Genesis, right?
Me too, yeah.
So, like, for me personally, I've been struggling to motivate myself to play a lot of PSO2 in general, because I had a set goal when I started PSO2, and then like as content rolls out, I set little milestones, and the latest milestone that I had was, hey, I'm gonna get all my Klaus units, I'm gonna get my Klaus weapon, I'm gonna gear up, I'm gonna be able to do all the content that I wanted to do, and I managed to achieve all of that pretty much yesterday. I made the last Klaus leg piece, I fully affixed it, I'm good to go. And then I also beat Phalag, but I beat her quite a long time ago, but it was a fluke the last time I beat her, because I just iron-willed and I just brute forced it. But this time, I beat it legitimately, but I felt cheated because I had the Klaus units and the Klaus weapon, and she doesn't hurt when you have your Klaus units.
Yeah.
She's hitting like 20 damage on me. I'm just like, this
Damn.
kind of trivializes the whole fight. And so that was kind of like a bummer. But to me, like, I've achieved what I set out to do, right? So all I have now is, okay, maybe make more Meseta, make more Star Gems, and just kind of coast and just enjoy whatever comes up. But there's nothing for me to farm very intensely for. I'm just kind of just chilling. What about you? Is there anything that you're just like hell-bent on getting right now?
Yeah, so like at the moment, I'm having fun farming augments to my alliance, putting final touches on equipment. But yeah, I am going to be working on sets of equipment going into New Genesis with. I think I'm going to start out with just my force gear. I'll probably make like an all stat, because like the stats are very different in terms of affixes with New Genesis. Basically, I'm going to make for New Genesis like a 2-star set, a 3-star set, and then the 4-star set will be, I think, maybe what am I equipped with now? I don't know. I gotta really have a look. But basically, I'm setting myself up to have a few sets to get myself into New Genesis. And the other side of it is do I choose weapons that have like a cool look as well, so that when I'm running around, I actually have a little bit of style in my equipment. So that's like the main thing I'm going for at the moment. But yeah, we're also getting the Arks ship via Swell next maintenance, which is a throwback to PSO1 Central Fire Dome Swell quest. And it's basically a firefighting urgent quest that's going to be in the city area with the Burning Rangers theme playing as well. And I'm pretty sure it drops some decent gear as well. So I'm looking forward to that dropping. And again, like I'm hoping they do the 20th anniversary exchanger, but I'm kind of uncertain what I'm going to be doing after that.
For sure. Actually, with that 20th anniversary exchange, I watched Azalera's stream when that came out, because I think it came out at the same time as the graphics update on the JP server, I'm pretty sure.
It did, yeah.
You know, I'm really excited for the graphics update. Like, sure, getting the cosmetics is nice, but to be fair, at least I don't know in your case, but in my case, all of my cosmetics on my character is actually either SG Scratch or Fresh Finds. And the reason I do this, I actually do this on purpose as well, is because I don't want to break any markets. Like, I'm terrified of breaking markets now, because every time I make a video talking about like, oh yeah, budget affixing, or talking about like, oh yeah, this item XYZ is really, really good, like the prices of those just skyrocket or they just break altogether. And then people get mad at me. And so I'm just like, all right, I'm not going to play this game anymore. I'm just going to get everything that you cannot take advantage of. Which was why, like, my augmenting system, like the recipe that I used mission badges, used augment transfer passes, and used things that you can farm really, really easily. So it was like, all right, you guys, scalpers, you can try to break the market, but, you know, people aren't going to buy your things because I've taught everyone where to farm for everything really easily. And, you know, the mission badges and the augment transfer passes you get for free. So I'm just like, you can't exploit anything there, right?
I think in that regard, like, this is, I definitely had my controversy early on, because I think like I just worded things really poorly when it came to the, I think it was like the invade units invade units way back.
Yeah.
And that definitely saw a spike, but from what a lot of people were telling me was that stuff was already had a trajectory that it was going to be very expensive regardless, because, you know, we can put out a video and stuff. A lot of the time we end up getting to it a few days after people have actually caught onto stuff. So that stuff's already making a jump in price. I think for the most part, the mindset I have is that I'm probably not going to be as, if you don't get this, you'll die kind of thing anymore. Because I think that's the problem I had. But what my mindset is that, sure, I might make a video on this and people get angry, but if I hadn't mentioned it, those same people that are getting angry would probably be exploiting it themselves if they could, right? Like, so I think like if you had the mindset that everyone's doing the dodgy, everyone's kind of at fault at that regard. So what I tend to do is just say, here's a thing, you can trade it on the market. And that's as far as I'll go. I think the problem I had with that video way back was that I had also said that it's cheap. And then a day later, it wasn't cheap. So I just let people know this is a tradable thing. And a lot of the time, there's like no-brainer stuff that everyone knows about. Like when we got the X-Cube exchange or the Photon booster exchange for the experience weapons for enhancing. Everyone could like walk to that shop and knew about that stuff. So there's some stuff, absolutely, obviously, like AC Scratch stuff where it was like the manga eyes or something like that, which is very limited. But if you can farm it and stuff, I think it's fair game.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
About the manga eyes, that thing was freaking crazy. Azalera was simply just answering a question that he got asked a lot, and it just blows up the price. I'm just like, oh my gosh, what happened?
And the thing is, as well, what I've noticed, because like I said, I'm getting to the point of my old costumes where I'm like, why am I holding on to this stuff I'm never going to equip? I'm looking at the prices for this stuff, and those like super old cosmetics, a lot of them are not worth selling for the most part. They're like 2 million to 3 million, except for, I mean, if something's lewd or if something's a little bit raunchy, there's going to be the raunch tax. But outside of that, yeah, I think I play on ship 1. It's probably very different for other ships like ship 4 though.
Actually, speaking about all the different ships, like you have characters on multiple ships. Can you tell me the experience on ship 4 and ship 3 on less populated ships? Because from what Dudley was telling me yesterday, you know, he was saying that if you play on like ship 4 or ship 3, your experience is vastly different from playing on ship 1 or ship 2.
It is. So the way I would label each ship is ship 1, I feel like, is the everyman ship. Like, it's just people go in there thinking, oh, this is the number 1 ship, so it must be most popular. So there's the most balance in terms of players, whether they're super hardcore, whether they're degenerates, you know, looking for all the lewd costumes, or maybe they're just there to have fun. I think that's the most balanced. Ship 2, as far as my experience with ship 2 was, I think if it had stat points, it definitely leaned a little bit more towards degeneracy, and also maybe like players that have been playing, like more veteran players is what I would say. And then ship 3 feels like, and what I'm saying in this, like, there's this on every single ship. It's just that it feels like there's more people that focus on these styles of gameplay on these different ships. And when I say degeneracy, I don't mean that as like an insult. I just mean people just want to play and have a sexy character, right? But in terms of ship 3 feels like a tight-knit community. Like, ship 3 feels like a dive bar. Not many people go to it, but the people that go to it are like the best of friends. And I would say possibly that's a thing that ship 4 may also have, but ship 4 definitely feels like it feels like, I want to say speed dating, but it feels like a whole bunch of people that never met each other before have just been put into a room together, because that's the ship that gets suggested for new players. There's like some really good people. There's some cool alliances. Someone was saying there's like alliance wars going on, and I'm sure it's just fun rivalry, but yeah, I actually joined an alliance last time I streamed, and people are pretty wholesome. Like, everyone was super excited to see a content creator on there, and I think just in general, people are just happy to see people playing with them on a ship that's less populated like ship 4. But ship 4, in terms of market, is definitely the most expensive. I wouldn't say that ship 3 is the like not really populated anymore. I was actually talking to Friday Witch with this. We were looking at all the different populations, and I think ship 1 or 2 is probably the most populated, and then ship 3 is very close to kind of sitting at the table with ship 1 and 2 in terms of population, but ship 4 is definitely very light.
I've never played on ship 1, 3, or 4, so I can only speak for ship 2. But I definitely agree that, you know, we do lean towards the degenerate side, and there's also a lot of tryhards. I don't know about ship 1. I'm sure there are, because, you know, Chrono is there, and, like, you know, you've got quite a lot of hardcore people. Like, Cammy's there as well. Like, you know, you guys are pretty hardcore compared to me, at least, because I'm a very casual player. I've always labeled myself as a casual player, but you know, in ship 2, from my experience, there are some really hardcore people, because people like to reach out to me and PM me. Unfortunately, most of the time they're PMing me while I'm making a video. They really need to make a way to just hide all the bubbles, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. But
I get that.
But, you know, I get a lot of requests or like invites to be like, hey man, we're going to be spamming the extreme quest, or spamming cradle, we're spamming like all these different urgent quests, you know, you want to join or not? And like, you know, I love to join, but the thing is, I don't know what I signed up for. Like, I would join, and then I would be like, oh, you guys are running this for how many hours? It's like, wait a second, I only joined for one run.
It's nice to get the invites. Definitely, like, I feel bad because a lot of the time I just don't have the time. Outside of, you know, my IRL stuff, I definitely feel like making content that I'm not playing as many hours as a lot of the more invested players is what I'd say. In terms of like ship 1 and 2 with the more competitive players, I would say that ship 2 is definitely, it felt more competitive, whereas ship 1 feels like people that are pushing themselves but helping each other to get better. And that's probably a thing that happens in specific alliances and stuff in ship 2, but this is just my experience of what I've had come my way more so on ship 1 in comparison to ship 2.
So actually, speaking about ship 1, do you have an alliance there?
So I used to run a firm on ship 2, and I felt like I was just there by name, and the people that were running the alliance and the people that were members of the alliance had a tight-knit community, and I felt like I was just there by proxy. So I was actually like playing a lot with I have got friends in an alliance called Pompous on ship 2, and I was playing a lot with them. So I was like, look, I'm gonna hand my old alliance over to the people that are running it, that are actually passionate about the alliance, so that way they don't lose the tree and all the work they've put into it. So I'm still in the Discord and everything like that. But yeah, once I moved over to the other alliance, that was a thing. I'm still like I said, I'm in an alliance on basically every ship now, with people that I'm friends with. But on ship 1, I ended up joining Kamikaze's tier 1 alliance because I had a lot of local friends actually that were in that alliance. And that was one of the big pulls, because I had a stream on ship 1, and because I'm playing on like a non-standard ship that I would normally play, there's a lot of people that come out for it. But I ended up having Cami hop on and go, hey, do you want to do some runs together? So we did that. We jumped in voice chat, and it was actually like a really good vibe. So that was one of the big factors for me to moving over to ship 1, was just the community spirit over there that kind of I felt really, really matched my playstyle.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like PSO2, playing this game alone, you will burn yourself out. You'll get definitely bored of the game after like a month, 2 months max, if you play purely solo. Actually, this is a great transition. Could you explain to me and maybe the audience like what Burnout is?
Yeah, so this is something that I'm not a gamer that can just play a game for 20 months at a time and have fun and be playing it, 24/7. Not that people play it 24/7, but like as soon as I turn on my computer, I just want to play PSO2 and I'm in running missions. Like, that's not the kind of player I've ever been for any game. Outside of when I was a kid playing like Final Fantasy 7 and stuff, and I could just sit there and play that for hours. These days, I just feel like I've got a lot more responsibilities that kind of pull me away from games, and I feel guilty if I'm just playing games all the time. Like usual adult stuff, paying bills, making sure that my partner, I'm spending time with her and stuff like that. But for me, what I think Burnout is, and I'm forcing myself to do something that I really don't like, or I'm just not enjoying, I feel like that's Burnout. It's like when you're running a marathon and you get to that point where your body is starting to pump in, I don't know what it's called, lactic acid. You're running a marathon and then suddenly you start to feel the burn on your legs and your body. I think that's what basically Burnout is mentally, especially with games. I have had it a lot with Destiny when I was playing that. Like, I would play for maybe 6 months at a time, and then I would just stop and not play it for 6 months. And the way I feel like Burnout works is the more you force yourself to do something you don't like, the harder it is to come back to it. Like, the more time you need to have a break before you do come back to that thing. So that's definitely why I've tried with PSO2 to be on top of that myself.
Like, what I've been doing is I've just been mitigating things, because the gameplay itself of PSO2 and like having the goals and stuff, they're all sort of like motivators to kind of make you work a little bit harder and not think about the burnout. But like, since I've reached that goal, at least yesterday I did, it was kind of like, well, do I log into PSO2 today? And it's just kind of like, I'm having that struggle right now where it's just like, there's not any new content right now, because right now we're still in the boost week, which is actually really, really good, but I've achieved everything that I wanted out of the boost week already. And so I'm just sitting there, I'm just kind of coasting, be like, okay, do I play the market? And I'm like, nah, I don't really want to play the market. I just want to like help people instead, because I don't need the Meseta anymore. I just need the Star Gems, because that carries over. And so I'm just kind of chilling. And that's why, as because we talked off camera, I've been addicted to Outriders, because that game just came out. Oh my goodness.
I think in terms of like mitigating burnout, one thing is definitely, if you force I always say this, if you force a fight, you're probably going to poop your pants, right? So as soon as you feel like you're forcing something, just stop, put it down. Like, it's not going anywhere. I can't see the PSO2 servers closing like next week. So if you've got some other game that you've been looking forward to, or maybe like a game you want to go back to, or even just if there's books you want to read, if there's movies or TV series you want to catch up on, allow yourself to do that, because that'll allow you to come back to it rejuvenated. And the other thing is, I think, like you were saying about I've done everything I want, this is a problem I had when I used to play World of Warcraft, was especially in Vanilla and Burning Crusade, my goal was just to reach highest level.
Mhm.
And once I reached that, I just felt like it's like climbing a plateau, but when you get to the plateau, it's just there's nothing to do up there, right?
Yep.
So my mindset is, you can probably pair this up with taking a break, doing other things, but try to think of other things in the game that you could do. Like you've leveled up Braver and another class to level 100. Maybe it's time to level up another class and try something new. Maybe it's time to talk to your alliance and run some challenge mode quests. There's a lot of content in PSO2 that you could do to change things up, but if in general you just kind of need a break from the flavor of PSO2, definitely try to find other stuff in terms of that. But I've absolutely been feeling burnout myself. Like since episode 5, I've had a lot of periods of burnout, and that's mostly come down to if I have a day off where I don't post a video, it's usually that's what I'm doing to mitigate that. But yeah, I will maybe focus on making a video for the night, and then the rest of the day I'll do something else, just so that I don't force myself to not enjoy the game.
I feel like that's definitely reflected on your channel, because you used to do daily uploads, right? Like that was a thing that you and me had in common. It was just like, yeah, every single day we'll get a PSO2 video out. And then like recently you've been uploading like once every 2 days ish, sort of around there.
What I've got in the back of my head is allow myself to have one day off a week. And then, but recently, like this last week, and I could see why you'd see it that way, because I was preparing on the demo for Outriders for one day, and I was like, if I'm feeling happy playing Outriders, I'll just play Outriders for the rest of the day. And then Outriders came out, right? And I played Outriders for the full day. So
it's funny you say that, because I've literally been doing the same thing, and then like I would realize like, oh, I don't have a video tomorrow. So I would work really hard to get the video uploaded and everything done beforehand so that I could enjoy Outriders, because I can't enjoy the game when in the back of my mind I'm just like, oh man, I haven't done, tomorrow's work yet. I haven't done today's work yet, blah, blah, blah. I won't be able to just enjoy the game. It's just... and so I'm just like, oh, it's been a struggle, because I have to work extra hard. And like recently I made the podcast about the new Genesis one with KOEG and Chrono. Like that video was so hard to edit, because like I had to throw in a new Genesis footage that I had as B-roll, and then like the podcast itself, and then I had that BenQ sponsor as well. And it was just so much stress on that one video. But I was like, no, I need to make this now so that I can, take a proper day off tomorrow. And it was rough. It was so rough. But we managed. So
the other thing is making sure you get enough sleep, right? Like I had a problem last night when I was putting out my video. I would have gotten it out 2 hours early, but I got to the point where, because I was compiling as much information as I could, I was talking to my alliance, getting their advice. I got to the point where, okay, my partner works late. She's coming home from work. I'm going to spend an hour with her. Got to it, done the video, and then I upload it. And YouTube has, sometimes people get this problem with YouTube where you'll upload a video and then it will just sit there processing for hours. So I thought, okay, this could be a thing. I'm just going to upload it again. And the second time I uploaded it, it actually beat the first video at processing. So little tip there if you ever have that problem. So I just threw that out at like 4 a.m. and then deleted the other one.
Yeah, I noticed, because I was up playing Outriders till 2 in the morning. I was like, because I was just wondering, I was like, oh, Cosmo might be awake now. I'll just type it. I was like, man, I just got another legendary. It was a shotgun, blah, blah, blah. And then you reply. I'm just like, wait a second. You're like 2 hours in the future for me.
Yeah. I have been like, Outriders is really fun. If people like co-op content and they don't mind Western style games, there's a free demo, you should try it out. But every legendary I get lately, I just dismantle straight away to get the mod. And as soon as I start to get legendaries that I already have the mod for, I'll probably start equipping with that stuff.
Is there no legendary weapon that you've just like gravitated to that you just want to use? Or
I really want the mods.
I guess.
The other thing is that like it's per character, which is frustrating. So I'm gonna have to do this again for other characters, but that's stuff I've got. I'm going to use Outriders as a game that if I do start to feel burnout, I can swap that in, get some games in, and then go back to PSO2, I think. Especially leading up to New Genesis.
Yeah, for sure. Like, actually, I was wondering, like, on your channel, do you think you're going to be making any Outriders content just for, just for fun? Or not really?
Nah. I've tried, like, this is just streaming, but I've tried streaming Destiny again, and, like, the way, like, I feel like people that have used to be there for my Destiny content kind of moved on from it. But that said, it could also be just the way the YouTube algorithm works. And I feel like it favors people that are putting out consistent content on a specific topic.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and this may be a reason why at the moment it's hard for New Genesis, because it's hard to gauge if people are interested or they're just waiting.
Mm-hmm.
But it could also be the YouTube algorithm saying, wait, these are two different things. So if any of us do start to see a little bit of a dip on views if we swap between New Genesis and PSO2, say it's probably that. And once New Genesis does come out and we're focusing on that, you'll probably start to see numbers rise, especially as people start to get excited for the game. But it's really weird trying to play around the YouTube algorithm, because it changes all the time. And you could put out the best video, but the problem is if you don't have a good thumbnail or title, are people going to click on that, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like, actually, you have a lot of experience on this as well, but in my case, when I left my previous MMO, which was Blade and Soul, it took me like 5 months of like consistent uploads on PSO2 before the algorithm was like, hey, Karo's channel's not Blade and Soul anymore. We should probably push all these videos to people that actually want to watch PSO2 stuff. Like, a lot of people, like, Mark or KOEG, like, they never heard of me. Like, you never heard of me till my Yamato video, was it? Right?
Possibly around then. Started with the Windows version, did you?
Yeah, I started on the PC on Windows, so that was like March of last year?
Yeah. It's hard because there's so many people that start doing YouTube content that it's hard to like pay attention to how many people there are. But when someone is starting to put out consistent videos, you definitely notice it, and that's probably what the case was for you. But in terms of, I think the reason why things went well for me early on was because I started in February and I was kind of coming off of Destiny. Like, Season of the Worthy was absolutely terrible. It was like PvP focused. It was just really bad. And that was what really burnt me out with Destiny and made me go, okay, all eggs in the basket for PSO2. And I think the thing that I benefited from was the fact that it was a super hype period for it. So there would be more SEO around that. And it would have been harder. I mean, the Windows launch was actually pretty big as well. But I think at that time, there would have been some of us content creators that were starting to get established. Like, as Lyra was around for a while, Flyago was there too, Morphsuit was there from the start as well. But then there was other content creators, like Chrono was starting to get videos out. KOEG was making videos back then, had some pretty big ones too. There's like quite a few people making videos, and I guess as there's more people making videos, it gives people more options to choose from, which spreads out the numbers. But when I started, basically I was putting out a video every day. And I think that was the thing, was the fact there wasn't many videos outside of top level gameplay or story videos. There wasn't many. There were absolutely guides out there, but there just wasn't many of them. And I think that's where I benefited from putting out a guide video every single day until it got to the point where it's just like a lot of my videos on YouTube. And I remember just like one night I went to bed and I was like, holy crap. First hour, this video has so many views. And then I started to notice that like day after day. And that's when I started, I think that would have been when I realized in episode 3, when the videos were doing well. I think the first one I noticed doing that was like little quality of life things, like, pulling all your client orders as soon as you get a quest. That video, like I did going over all those little things that you might not know about, selecting multiple items and stuff, was when I started to realize that things were really blowing up and taking off, because I was making videos before the open beta started, but they just weren't getting much traction. And then as soon as it started to be the full thing that everyone could play, that's when it really started to roll out. But I couldn't tell you like 100% that's exactly how it happened, but I would just attribute it to consistency and I guess going for a market on videos that wasn't really filled just yet.
I feel like consistency, at least for me, that's like my only redeeming factor. It's just like, yeah, no. You can count on Karo to make a video every single day, and I take a lot of pride in that, because it's just like, yeah, that's my thing, But for sure, I do understand that, it's the algorithm, and it's also like the topic and the thumbnail as well. because
Yeah.
like I worked really hard on the on that podcast with talking about NGS, but like the video that I released yesterday where it was just like, how do I make my Meseta? Like, you know, that gained
That does
so
well.
many more views because that is relevant to the people, to my audience, right? I found out that the topics that you make on the channel, or at least for me, like my audience needs to be able to relate to it in order for them to, they need to get value out of the video, right?
Yeah.
And those are the videos that do well. The ones where I just talk about like my experience, or like, you know, this is how the drink system works or whatever system works in New Genesis, like they don't get that many views because people can't relate to it, right? They're just like, oh, this is closed beta, everything is subject to change, like what's the point, right? I do understand like curiosity, like, you know, there's still a handful of people, like, you know, a couple thousand that want to watch this because they're curious, but the majority of my viewer base, they're just like, pah, we don't care. Tell me when the global CBT is out. We want to play the game. Yeah. It's like, just okay, man, right? So, like, I don't know about you, but when I was playing the closed beta, like, I recorded a lot of stuff, right? I didn't record it all in one go because I felt like having like a 200 gig video folder wouldn't make much sense. So I broke it down into segments. I had like, oh, this is daily quest, this is you know, the drink system, this is the regional mag, so forth and so on. But like as I got throughout the week after, I was just like, wow, everyone's NGS videos aren't actually doing that well. And so, you know, I was thinking, okay, it could be the algorithm, or it could be just lack of interest because people were just like, well, you know, it's closed beta, right? They just wanted to watch people stream it during the duration it was out. And so I had all this footage and I was just like, they're not doing so well. So I just sat on them. I'm just like, I'm not really going to publish this because I don't think there's an interest in the subject. And I was just like, oh well. And that's why I went back to PSO2 stuff, talking about like boost week, augmentation, and all that stuff, because that was relevant to my audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Like what I've found is videos, I've had some New Genesis videos do pretty well. Like, I did a clarification after the chat we had with Aslar and everyone, because I'd said like 9 out of 10, and I needed more time to think, so I ended up putting a video on like my complete thoughts. Some of the ones, I had one about preparation do okay, and then there was that one that really went really well recently. I'm talking about like the affixing system, like the stuff that people don't really like in PSO2 right now, or is daunting. I feel like that stuff does kind of okay, but in terms of just talking about, I did a video on the different material stones you could get, and that just tanked. Like people don't care about that. I don't think they will until it actually comes out, and even then, they probably want to know the most optimal way to get that thing right.
I bet you it's gonna take the exact same path as what Genshin Impact has. It's like, most efficient route, get 200 of XYZ ore in 1 hour, and it's gonna be like, this is the most optimized path. You're gonna go here, and like, oh my god, it's gonna be those videos again. And it's like, once you're done with that, then you're gonna change block and do it again.
yeah, that's gonna be a thing. That's so like, I'm holding off on making that kind of stuff. I've got like a lot of footage, but just seeing how things have been performing, it's like you got to make sure that you're not too eager. I had the mindset that because we've come out of the closed beta and we're leading up to it, that I should probably keep people interested in it, but until we get a date, like, people don't care.
I'm actually I'm praying that when the global CBT comes out, that we get the braver class. Because like people are saying that, hey, it's in the folders, right? You know, we see it. All right, enough talk about PSO2. I want to talk about freaking Outriders, because I'm dying to talk about this game. But have you ever played Remnant from the Ashes before? Oh,
I've heard a lot of people comparing it to it, but I haven't played it.
Yeah, so I picked up Remnant from the Ashes, like, you know, when it came out ages ago, because I looked at the game, I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I played with one of my Alliance members. It was just the two of us. We played through the entire game. Took us like, 3 or 4 days, and we beat it. And it was really, really fun. And then the thing about Outriders when this came out was, it's like a polished version of Remnant. I heard you keep comparing it with Diablo. Could you tell me like why? What similarities is
Yeah.
there?
A lot of people compare it to other shooters because like it's a shooter.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it definitely feels a lot more like Diablo, especially Diablo 3 when you start to get towards like greater rifts and stuff like that. And just the way the skill system or the mod system works with the, I guess, the talents and skills or whatever you call it in Outriders. The problem we have right now with a lot of these gamers service game and Outriders isn't one, but games like Destiny is that in terms of build diversity, the thing that gets in the way the most is resources required to change mods or change builds on your characters. Whereas Outriders has those resources where you need to pay to actually change stuff, but they're very minimal in terms of changing that stuff. And like I was saying, like with the skills and the builds, it just feels more like there's a lot of damage over time stuff and a lot of percentage bonuses. Like what I'm running at the moment is a Devastator, which apparently is like the worst class in the game, but I'm playing as that. And my focus is I put up my iron skin, I think it's called like Golem. I'll put that on and that actually buffs my damage. I've got buffs for assault rifles. I've got an assault rifle, which every 2 seconds will do an explosion on the enemy. And then every 6 seconds, a big sword will drop down and hit the enemy as well, doing even more damage. So I'm just doing all these like damage over time and like little damage procs. And I'm getting a bonus for keeping up my steel skin or my golem. And that kind of stuff just feels very much like Diablo for me.
Yeah, I think it's because of our vastly different playstyles. Because, so I play Technomancer, which is basically like the sniper class. And so my playstyle is literally like I stay way back and I just throw turrets in front of me so that they aggro the enemy, and then I just snipe everyone off one at a time. And so I'm never actually at risk of dying. But the issue is, if I ever do get zerged on, which happens a lot, I die in like 3 hits. So that's the big trade-off, right? I can one-shot a lot of things, but they can one-shot me too, or I guess 2 or 3 shot. But oh man, I love the game because of the gunplay. Like every gun I've used so far is just so satisfying. Like the feedback when you hit something, the sound. But to be honest, the sound, there has been a couple sound glitches for me. Like sometimes, especially like lightning sounds or electricity sound would be a lot louder than all the other sounds. And I was just like, is this a bug or something? Because it's like 3 or 4 decibels louder. It's really, really loud. And I
mean,
like,
it sounds realistic.
I mean, I guess, but I'm just like, holy crap. But the thing is, for me, like, I found it really interesting that you linked it with Diablo because, like, I haven't been in the game yet. As we talked earlier, you know, you said that I'm like at the halfway point now, but I haven't unlocked expeditions, right? And from what I hear, expeditions is basically gonna be like the greater rifts or like the regular rifts in Diablo 3, where it's like you can go in and it's repeatable content for a lot of great loot. But for me right now, the only quote-unquote repeatable content that I have is like the side quests, right? I have the different hunts, I've got the different bounties, and then I've got the main storyline, and I've got like 1 or 2 different side quests that I can pick up. So for me, it's just, alright, you know, it feels like a regular RPG sort of type of game. But I really enjoy it because of how streamlined they made the crafting system. It's complex enough where you can do whatever you want, but it's also streamlined enough where it's like, hey, I know you really like this one legendary rifle that you got. Hey, you know you can level it up and upgrade it to like the same level as all your other weapons so that it's still viable, but it's gonna cost a buttload. And I'm just like, crap, it costs so much titanium. And then you have to like calculate in your head, it's like, shit, is it worth upgrading this legendary rifle or just use a a purple or a blue rarity rifle instead? And that was a big mistake that I made. I was so stubborn because, you know, it was my first legendary weapon and it was a rifle, right? And rifles is perfect for my class because I use sniper rifles and bolt action rifles because I have the damage bonus on those weapons. And I was like, no, I'm gonna keep using this legendary rifle. And I dumped like 60 or like 90 titanium into this one rifle to get it up to snuff so that it could actually be strong enough to be viable in the content that I'm doing. And I only realized like later down the line that I switched to a blue rarity sniper rifle and I'm hitting for like 10,000 damage versus my legendary rifle, which I'm shooting and I'm dealing like freaking peanut damage. I'm just like, what have I been doing? I was just like, it's just that pride, you know? It's that Diablo mentality where it's like, it's legendary. It has to be good. It has to be better than all the other rarities. But then you realize that the legendary item is only like level 20, while the rifle or the blue rarity sniper rifle you have is like level 25. And it deals a shit ton more damage. Yeah.
What I've been noticing, like, and I noticed this early on, I was playing with two of my alliance members, Ed and Kazi, and we went through like pretty hard. We were going like up world tiers and stuff, and then I needed to sleep because we were running into like server issues. So I slept and I came back, and they had pretty much stayed on playing for 24 hours. So I like let them do their own thing, and I ended up soloing. And I quickly found that you really need to keep your weapons and armor upgraded like as much as possible. And even in terms of the like the world tier, it really doesn't get much harder. The only thing that's making it harder is if you're not keeping your gear upgraded. And I started to find some farms in terms of hunts where I would kill the boss, let it drop its loot, die, and then just keep repeating to get like a full set of purples. So that's what I was doing to deck out my
That's so
stuff.
smart. I never thought of that.
And I was getting like, the higher the world tier you go, like at world tier 8, I was getting like 30 titanium per kill. And now I'm getting like, I could go through and do that. I'd probably get maybe 50 or 60 titanium per kill if I did that. But I've got some decent, like, because I'm getting so much titanium now, I just upgraded the purple gear instead. And then the other side of it is, if I am running that, not only am I trying to get good gear and titanium, I'm also farming that stuff to get all the mods that I can get. So I'm getting like all the tier 2 mods, all the tier 1. I've got all the tier 1 mods. I think there's a few tier 2 that I need. And now when I was talking before, whenever I get a legendary, I just shard it straight away because I can get a tier 3 mod. And once I do get enough legendaries where I've already got those mods on, I'll consider keeping that stuff then. But yeah, I'm going to work towards world tier 15. I've almost got all the quests done. And then that's where I'm going to start focusing on doing all the expeditions, because I haven't really set foot in there, even though people tell me that's the jam right now. I'll get to it.
I'm a world tier 10 right now, and I'm only halfway through the game. I'm just like, wait a second. But yeah, dude, it's hella fun. I really love the game, but it's mainly because of the gunplay. To me, it's all about the gunplay and how cheesy the story is. Like, I swear, the developers designed like the main character with like the dumbest lines ever. I'm just like it's so cheesy that I like it, right? Because I like cheesy movies like, you know, Independence Day and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
These are funny, right? I'm just like, wow, that's so cheesy, but it feels so out of place because it's like, oh yeah, the story is about the end of the world, you know, we find a new planet and we're exploring, you know, and it's just like, wow, that's a really edgy story. And then your character's like a total buffoon, and it's just like, oh, that's so out of place.
Are you playing as a male or female character?
I picked a male character.
Yeah, I find that the male character, it feels like he doesn't have the personality to be a brutal character. He just seems like an everyday guy. But then he's going off and saying, oh, you just stole a loaf of bread? That's a bullet to the head. It's very excessive compared to the personality.
Have you done that side quest where you had to go into like the Outriders bunker and everything yet?
Yes.
Oh my god, like I don't want to talk spoilers just in case there is anyone in the audience that's still playing through that game, but that quest made me laugh so hard when the guy's like, the doctor's like, go hide in the refrigerator, and you're like, wait, what? It's so stupid. And then like, I don't even know how that was resolved in the end. It was just like, oh yeah, you know, but everything's fine now, no problem. I was just like, wait a second.
Someone was saying that it's like the best B movie they've seen this year.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's legitimately like, the story is so wacky. Like, they try to make everything so serious in the beginning, and you're kind of like immersing yourself in it. You're like, oh yeah, cool. I'm like this explorer, this outrider, and then your character opens his mouth, and you're just like, wait a second.
It definitely, like, I don't want to spoil much. I don't want to spoil things for you. Like, we talked about it earlier. Like, the game really opens up in the second half. It really changes the story. But it goes in some places, like some ways and places that you just don't expect or don't see coming.
Mhm.
It's really cool in that regard. Like there are some places you're gonna go in the game where it's like, what the heck?
All right, cool. I'm gonna be playing right after this podcast. I'm gonna be going straight back to play this game because
Yep.
holy crap, it's amazing. It's freaking amazing. The only thing that was a little bit frustrating was, I bought the game like on day 3 or day 4 because I saw on day 1, a lot of people were having like audio sync issues, server issues, blah blah blah. So I was like, I'll give
Yep.
it a couple days. And I bought on day 4. I was like, all right, things should be good now, right? And I literally downloaded the game and I couldn't launch the game. Like I couldn't log in because
no.
servers were down. I was like, oh, great first impression, but
Yeah, it launched at Easter, right?
Oh,
So there was like a lot of
right.
public holidays. Yeah.
But like when I was finally able to get into the game, like it clicked really quickly. It was just like, wow, this is a good game. This is fun. So yeah. It's funny because I've never heard of this game ever like before. Like I didn't know this game was in development or like which studio made this. I knew nothing about it. I was just like, oh, this game's out. Oh look, it looks pretty fun. I was like, well, I guess I'll pick it up.
Yeah, because like I played Destiny, it was on my radar because so I would watch like the E3s and stuff, and I remember it being mentioned. It actually took me a long while to warm up to Outriders because I just really don't like the kind of gritty, dark, edgy aesthetic of it. I think that's probably why I prefer Destiny's aesthetic. But I gave it a shot in the demo and I found that I really liked it. Like, I mean, did you end up trying the demo or did you straight out?
I didn't try the demo because I heard people were saying like, oh, I played the demo, it didn't feel like, it didn't feel great. But then I tried the game and it's totally different. So I was just like, oh, it's probably not a good comparison. So what I did was I just watched my favorite streamers. There's a streamer called Demone Kim. He mainly does like Genshin Impact stuff, but he was playing the game, and so I was just watching him play for about like 2 to 3 hours. I was like, dude, this actually looks really fun. He was playing like Pyromancer and everything, and so when I jumped into the game, I was like, all right, everyone's playing Pyromancer, and I looked at the stats. I was like, medium range, powerful. You got fire spells that heal you. Cool. Then I was reading through each one. I was like, technomancer, long range, sniper rifle. I was like, okay, I'll pick that. And then I learned yesterday that like no streamer plays Technomancer, and I was just like, wait,
really?
why? Yeah, apparently everyone's playing like Trickster or the Pyromancer. Apparently,
Yeah, that's what I heard. I would say the demo was pretty much exactly the same as the game. The problem was that there was a lot of caps in place. I played all 4 characters to level 7, World Tier 5, and then like that's as far as you could go. And then the most you could get in terms of like leather and iron was 1,000, either 1,000 or 2,000. So I got those to cap. And then really quickly when I played the game, realized that you can get a lot more than just that amount.
Yeah, exactly. I felt like it wasn't that big of a deal since it's on Steam as well. I was like, you know what? I'll buy the game. I'll jump in. I'll play like, 3 to 4 hours. If I don't like it, I can refund it, right? Because that's how Steam works, under 10 hours. So I was like, it's fine. I'll just buy the game. I'll see how I feel about it. And to be honest, my very first impression when I first played the game, I was very close to refunding the game, like at the 4-hour mark. But the reason I was thinking about refunding the game wasn't because the game itself wasn't fun. It was just because I was so frustrated with the server issues. Like, I play the game fully solo, like offline. I just want to play the game the way that I want to, offline. And, having to connect to the server and the login process and all that jazz, only to play the game totally offline just really frustrated me, right? I was just like, can I just play the game, please? But I love the game. I really love the game because it gives me the same vibes as Genshin, in the fact that I can play however I want to play, right? Because the thing about like PSO2 and like other MMOs in general is there's usually like a meta, right? People establish a meta and it's just like, this is how you play, this is how you min-max, this is how you deal the most amount of damage. But in like games like Outrider, it's kind of like, who cares? It's a solo experience. And then like you invite your friends and you're inviting your friends not to min-max. At least in my case, I don't invite my friends to min-max. I invite my friends so that we can just cause chaos and mayhem and just, have a good time together. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap things up over here. We've been recording for an hour. That's pretty good. So, I'm going to hand the floor over to you, Anamana, if you want to do any shout outs. The floor is yours.
Yeah, shout out to Tier 1 Alliance on Ship 1. Shout out to Keroppi for putting out some good content. All the other content creators for PSO2, as Elira, you got streamers, Hot Sammy Sliz. I'm just going through my Discord friend list at the moment. Black to Basics, my old school buddy for back when we started making content for PSO2. KOEG. I pretty much appreciate all the PSO2 content creators, and I'm glad that we're all mates. So there's my shout out.
And that concludes the 12th episode of Arks Trash. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye.
Can I say except you're welcome?